And we are live. Are you excited, Beanie? It's a Beanie Cam. Say hi, Beanie. We have one kitty with us right now, and it's not one of the ones that is usually in here at this hour of the night. So we have the Beanie Cam. Yeah, you think I'm nuts, don't you? Yep, Beanie thinks I'm crazy. Um, she has no idea why I was shoving a camera into her face. So welcome, everyone. I'm going to be doing some sprints tonight. I need a little bit of motivation. My goal is to read as much of The Martian as possible. I've read the first chapter. This is the last 5-star prediction I have for the third round of 2022, and I'm supposed to be finishing up the fourth round this month. So my thought was, if I could read this in the next 24 hours, I could film my thoughts and then hopefully get my video for this, my vlog for my 5-star predictions for that round out on Friday. We're going to see how it goes, but I definitely can't get it out if I don't read this book. So, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to sprint for because I'm tired, and that is usually a very unusual statement for me at 1:30 in the morning. So, I'm hoping to go at least 2 hours though. So, probably at least 4 sprints because I do half an hour sprints, 5 hours chatty bit. Yeah, 5 hours of chatty bit with 30-minute sprints. Yeah, you can already see that I'm tired. Yeah, 30-minute sprints, 5-minute chatty bits, and I pretty much stick to that for the most part. So I'm hoping I can make a very, very decent dent in this tonight. I have no idea what my reading pace is. I'll have a better idea after the first sprint, because then I'll know about how many pages I read in half an hour, and I can calculate how long it'll actually take me to read the book. But that is my plan. I would like to kind of get back on track because I'm a little behind again. I just I want to get caught up on my seasonal vlogs and my 5-star prediction vlogs. And my plan should allow me to read all of the books before the end of December if I'm sticking to my page count, which so far I am. But I actually need to read them so that I can film them, so that I can edit them, so I can post them. And if I don't read, I can't do any of that, and that just continues to put me behind. So this week's goal is to just read this one book, and I think I can do it. I've read the first chapter, and so far I'm intrigued. So we're off to a good start. These sprints usually tend to be quiet too because it's, like I said, 1:30 in the morning on the East Coast of the United States, which means a lot of people are sleeping, and I'm a much smaller channel, so lots less pressure. Um, but yeah, so I think I'm going to throw us in our first sprint because I really want to know what happens next and kind of get a feel for this book. So we're going to sprint, and I will see everybody in half an hour. Okay, so that didn't meow on my end. Did it meow on your end? And why does it say 30 minutes? It should definitely say 5. Hang on. Hmm. Oh. I bet you because it didn't meow, so I didn't see it. So we're going to stop sharing that. Nope, no meow. Okay. I could have swore I looked at it and it said like 1:30 left, and then I finished the section I was reading and it said like 4 minutes left, and I was like, "Did I misread this?" But I bet you what happened is it meowed. Well, meowed. And then I didn't hear it because it didn't make a sound. Let's try this again. And we're gonna do a quick 1 minute. We're gonna share this. This is riveting content, I'm sure. Okay. We will let that run in the background because we're gonna see if it meows. If not, I'm gonna have to play with it. Oops. I can see I have a weak signal. I should not. Oh, it says we're good. Okay, there we go. LOL, dealing with tech is always fun. Never know if it'll work out or not. Oh yeah, totally. Um, and it's my second day in a row of having like wishy-washy things like that happen. Yesterday, I left the house because I had to mail a package, and while we were gone, my dad said that the power went out, and it was out for like a couple minutes, and then it came back on, and it was on for maybe like 5, 10 minutes, and then it went off again, but then it came back on, and then it was on, and then it went out. It meowed that time. Then it meowed, then it meowed, then it went off again, came back on while we were home, and then it went completely off, and like I went outside and I looked down the road and all I could see were these eerie red lights. So we didn't dare, like, when the power came back on, assume it was going to stay on. Like, I was supposed to use my toaster oven to make dinner, and I was like, yeah, we're going to get the stove lit and I'm just going to have some pasta because I don't trust that my toaster oven is going to actually have electricity to stay on. Let me see if I can, let's see if I can. It's hard to tell, but there was like this giant eerie red glow. It was friggin' crazy. Still have no idea what happened. I hate when the power goes out. Me too. And then the cats get all freaked out. I also hate when the water gets turned off. Hard same, especially when they don't let you know it's getting turned off and all of a sudden you don't have water. I need to fix the timer because we don't want to do a 1 minute sprint. We want to do a, nope, not 130, a 30-minute sprint. So we'll give that a few more minutes. Nah, pick doesn't do it justice. Okay, the second one you could tell the red light better. Yeah, it was just really weird because it was like this eerie, like giant eerie red glow from like the corner by my house to the street where my house is. And I mean, at the other end of it, obviously, and we have no idea what happened. Like, it didn't make the paper, it didn't make the local news. Not a clue. It's just, I mean, the pictures you can tell when you're looking at it on my phone, but like, obviously, the lights, I think, just bounce off the phone because just eerie red light. Yeah, see, this one is hard because, like, it just looks like glow. But I promise you there's red light there. Let's see, maybe if I do it, like, nope, that just made it worse. It's so creepy. This town never gives good warning. The last time the water was off all day, it was planned, but no notice was given. I think you need to give notice on that one, because otherwise, how are people supposed to know? Can see at that time. Yeah, it like I said, it's really, really hard. Maybe I'll pop them in my vlog and I'll mention it. I don't know. I just filmed a vlog clip that updated on like the 6 books I've read in the last like 3 days, so I don't know if I'll remember to mention it. But speaking of reading, I'm now on page 47. So that would have been a 35-minute sprint. So I read like 40 pages in 35 minutes. Not bad. It's a 370-page book, so lots of sprints. I will need lots of sprints to finish it. But that is the hope, because the sooner I finish it, the sooner I can film. And the sooner I film, the sooner I can edit. And the sooner I edit, the sooner I can post. And I would like to post this video tomorrow. By tomorrow, I mean Friday. I also have kitties all over my bed. Let's see if I can get them. So we have my little lap cat. And then right over here, where I just lifted up my foot, next to my foot is a beanie. And then over here is a Porky. See, you know your name, huh? And I think in my chair in the background, let's see if I can point to right there. In the chair, I think that's where Cielo is. Has me missing Portland, Oregon so bad. Oof. Cuteness. I've got Lad on one side and Moto on the other at the moment. I've actually got a bed full of kitties, which lately when I'm streaming, they're like, just no. You don't want to be in here. No thanks. Lad's trying to sleep through me working. How's that going for him? Who's winning this argument? Because I find that when I have an argument with my cat about what we're going to do, it is usually, I want to be sleeping in your lap and you need to pee. And the cats almost always win. Though I do hope you're getting work done, because I know you have a lot of stuff that you need to do. Hence the sprints. Gives me that little extra nudge. Not him, he's happy about that. I wish he was. Oh, poor puppy. But it'll be worth it in the end. You'll have a new place and things will be a lot less stressful for your human, so things will be less stressful for you. Like, don't you wish you could explain to your dog the scope of what was going on? I am, and these sprints will help so much. Well, I am very, very glad. They're definitely going to help me. I'm hoping, I don't think, like I said, I'm going to finish this tonight, but I'm hoping they help me get far enough into it that I will want to actively pick it up tomorrow. Unless I completely hate it, in which case there is no help for it in the entire world. But given that it's a 5-star prediction, I'm really hoping I don't hate it. So, since the timer was off, I think we'll sprint, because I have no idea if it's been 5 minutes yet or not. So, I think it's as good a time as any to sprint. I really do. I try to explain, but he doesn't get it. Moto knows what's going on, though. I've always said if I could have any kind of superpower, it would be the ability to communicate with animals because I just think that would be a very handy one to have. I really liked The Martian. I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about it, but it's been long enough that like I have no idea what the book is about, and I went into it blind just like I did with Project Hail Mary. And Project Hail Mary, I think I can safely say at this point in 2022 was my favorite book that I read last year because I still think about it. So I wanted to go into this one blind since I went into that one blind for reasons. I don't know what the logic was, but like it worked for that one, so I was hoping it would work for this one too. But yeah, I think I'm gonna dive back into that, and you should get back to packing or whatever it is, cleaning, organizing, whatever it is you're doing for your move. And we'll do another 30-minute sprint. So I will see you in 30. Okay, good. It meowed. I am now on page 84. I startled Bugs, which is why he is no longer with us. I laughed, and he ran away. I was not expecting the line that we got. It was really funny. So you'll at least have that. I may not tell you what I'm going to rate it, but I will tell you it's funny. Or at least that one line was funny. I still have the other two, though. They're still here, being their cute little furry selves. Boop. Say hi, pork. Yeah. See, look how cute I am. What? And then Beanie is still passed out. We don't want to wake her up. Back to work. So I still want to read Project Hail Mary. I adore that book. Porky's like, I didn't say you were done patting me. Stupid leg thing came off a really heavy chest and I can't get it back on or move it, and I'm really frustrated. I can see how that would make you really frustrated. What? I did get my desk moved into the living room. Nice. I have 2 desks. One is in my room, one is in my spare room, and I hate them both. Neither one of them quite works for what I would want it to work for. The one in the middle room, though, well, the spare room, middle room. We've always called it the middle room since I was little because it's the middle of the 3 rooms in our house. I actually have books on it. Like, some are like my nostalgic series, so like you'll find Wayside in there. Ramona books are in there. My Shiloh books are in there. Phantom Tollbooth, Maniac McGee. And then underneath it, like I have an extra shelf from one of my bookshelves that has like removable shelves. And I've got that on top, like with my nostalgic books. And then underneath are my book of the month books. I need everything in the living room. Right, because it'll probably be easier to move it out if it's in the living room. Oh, my eyes are itchy. Can I just point out it's December 8th? And I don't know what is in the air, but it's awful. Like, both me and my dad's allergies have been horrendous the last week or so. And it's just awful. Like, I think I mentioned in one of my sprints this week that I had, like, the itchy sinuses. That's luckily gone away, but it hasn't gotten much better otherwise. I inherited mine. It's an old desk that was my other mom's dad's desk when he was a journalist. It's like 30s or 40s. Well, then it's probably really, really well built. Because I felt like they built things better back then. The desk behind me I've had a long time. Not that long. It's like, oh gosh, at least 10 years old. No, it's got to be older than that because my nephew lived here in 2011 and I'd had that desk for a while when he moved in. So, do with that what you will. And then the desk in the spare room, I've had less than that, but it's not deep enough for my laptop because I have a 17-inch screen. So I struggled to get the laptop on the dust, so I don't like that one either. Kicking Up the Dust has something in it that is making grimy hands and arms itchy. No, making my hands and arms itchy. Okay. The desk was well built. When Grandma Horn got dementia, she put it outside in the rain, so it got a bit messed up. But I like it that way. Fair enough. I still think furniture from back then is better built. Like, if rain got on this one, it would be completely destroyed. But our little kitty meowed, so back to work and back to reading for me. So, how did everyone do? I'm now on page 119. Progress. And I think I'm into it enough that it should be easy enough to want to pick up tomorrow. So I'm not sure how much more of it I'm going to read tonight because I kind of want to listen to an audiobook and I don't have an audiobook of this, but we'll see. In a kitty update, Bugsy's back. You won't be able to see him, and I don't feel like picking up the computer so you can, but he's right back here. Passed right out, looking cute. I got the stupid heavy chest thing moved. Then I took a bit of a break, trying to figure out what I should do next. Maybe it's a good thing the move can't happen tomorrow after all, because I'm not ready. So it was a blessing in disguise then? Also, just so you know, I did see your messages in the Discord, but I was having I don't feel like interacting in a typey type kind of day. If I could have verbally reacted, I'd have been fine. It was just one of those weird moves where I was like, I am not replying via text today. It's like right now I have an ambiance on. I can see the number 62 next to that ambience, which means I have 62 notifications on YouTube that I have yet to get back to. I guess so. That's a good way to think of it. Kind of a silver lining, and maybe will help you be less stressed that in the long run it actually turned out to be a good thing that your plans got changed. I was actually going to say something to that effect. Like when I was reading it, I was thinking maybe this will turn out to be like a good thing because you'll have more time to figure stuff out or rest or whatever. And it turned out I was right. But like I said, I was just having a kind of more non communication sort of day. And then, like I said, I had been thinking about sprinting. You asked for sprints, and here I am. I get it. I don't mind you not replying. I just appreciate being able to message you to vent when needed. Same. And I love that you get it. Like you totally understand that like I'm not ignoring you, which I always feel bad about because like again, 62. The number 62 is next to my YouTube thing because I have 62 notifications, which means I definitely have comments on videos I have to reply to, and like the more the number goes up, the less I want to do it. But I like that you get that I'm not completely ignoring you because I always feel bad when I get into one of those moves where I'm like, I cannot reply. If I could do it verbally, we'd be fine. But alas, sometimes communication at a distance can be tricky, and my brain doesn't always allow me to do so. We have also reached the warm portion of the night where I'm contemplating putting on my fan. I would take the hat off, but then I would want to pull my hair up and get it out of my face, and I have a slight headache, and I know that'll only make it worse. Demand avoidance is a real thing. I struggle with it all the time. Yes, I'm learning more and more that it's just how my brain works. And it's better to go with the flow, if possible, than to fight against the flow, because going against the flow is exhausting. Now, obviously, there's times where you have to do it whether you want to or not, or where there's the benefit to doing it. Like, I would rather not leave the house, but if somebody buys something on Macari, for instance, or on Pango Books, and I mail it, I get money, and I could use the money, so it's kind of worth going against the flow, even though it would just be easier to stay home, especially considering not having money would stress me out. So, it's a whole balance thing. I'm overheated after moving that heavy piece of furniture. I bet. I get extremely overheated when I have to move stuff around, regardless of the temperature in my house at any given time, or outside, to be honest. My problem today was too many changes to the plans in a short amount of time. Yes, that is me. I prefer to have a plan, and I don't like when my plans change. And I have like a routine, and my routine is going to be changed, I'm fine as long as I know about it in advance. But yes, the Kitty of Doom has meowed, so it's time to go back to work. I'm gonna go back and read. Maybe read an audiobook, we'll see. So in that sprint, I made it to page 146, and it felt like a natural place to stop. So I picked up the last Buccaneer, and I am 5% into the audiobook of that. I will probably do, I think, one more sprint to wrap it up. Uh, let's see. Not handling change well is totally an autism thing. That does not surprise me. I always assumed it was like something to do with my anxiety and like OCD or something, because my dad is very much like that too, is he has a routine, and if his routine gets messed up, it completely throws him off. But I can totally see it being because I'm autistic as well, as opposed to anxiety, now that I know that I'm autistic, you know? My body is telling me I need to be done moving stuff for the night and that I need rest. So I cleared my bed off and made sure there were clear paths to walk. I've started unwinding now. Then I think we do one more sprint to help you unwind, and then hopefully both of us get some sleep. Let's see if I can. The Widow Man is in a lap. He's very cute. Also, transitioning from one task to another is another autism thing. Having problems when transitioning. LOL, my brain is tired. Yeah, I get that too. I get into a groove doing something, I just want to stick with what I'm doing. The one and only job I had was working at Family Dollar, and I really, 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 really struggled. Because you have to kind of do everything. Like, you're the cashier, but you're also the stocker, and you have to keep things tidy, and you've got to clean up, and there's just 8 million things you need to be doing, and I get into a groove with stocking shelves, and I would have to stop to go check somebody out, and then I would get in a groove with checking people out, and there would be nobody to check out, so I'd have to go back to stocking shelves, and then I get interrupted, and it was bad. It was really, 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 really bad, and I was tired all the time. And I just, in hindsight, I can't handle something like that. I'm very good at doing the bits and bobs, but trying to go back and forth in between them just would not work for me. No one wants to work at the Family Dollar in town. It's so bad they had to reduce hours. At my Family Dollar, and keep in mind, I'm 35 now. I worked there when I was 21. There were never more than 7 people on staff. I think at one point, one of them had COPD and was in the hospital. One of them had left. So it was me, a manager, and then like the main manager of that store, and it was that was it. That was the staff. And I did a lot of work on shifts where I wasn't scheduled. I came in when they needed help. And there were 2 things that broke the camel's back with me for that job, where I decided I couldn't handle it anymore besides the stress. And that was, 1, I went to my sister's for Super Bowl weekend, and she lives like an hour away. And when I went to, it was my day off. And when I went to work, was told I was being given a verbal warning for not being available for call-in. And I went, I'm making like 7 and a quarter an hour. I'm not sitting by the phone in case you need me on my day off when I've already worked on my day off or worked extra hours. And then the second was, I got tickets to meet Lance Bass at a signing when he had his book out. And I told her like 2 months in advance I would need this one specific day off so that I could drive to the signing. And she said I shouldn't have done that without talking to her first. She wasn't going to be able to give me the day off, and I wasn't going to be able to go. And that was the last day I worked there. I went home that night and I just never went back, because I'm like, excuse me? I'm giving you a month's notice. You only give me my schedule a week in advance. Like, sometimes I would get my schedule on Saturday to find out if I was working Sunday. And you're telling me you can't give me that one day off? That's crap. Nope. And I couldn't handle it anymore. Had a giant panic attack and just never went back. But yeah, this is gonna be our last sprint, so go unwind and I'll see how much I can get done reading. Okie dokie, we can get rid of this because we're done sprinting for the night. Oh, goody. I'm nice and big now. We'll get rid of the banner. Here. Okie dokie. I was gonna pick up The Martian. I didn't read The Martian. I am now on page 55 of the Buccaneers. I dug the book out. I actually own the physical copy, which is 15% into the book. Your story sounds like what I hear around here. I don't think I ever heard of anybody else I knew working at Family Dollar, but I just had an awful experience with it. I worked there, I want to say like 4 months, and they were great when I started because I got the job, and then I had to have my gallbladder taken out, so I couldn't start because you can't lift anything. And then I started working there. I think I gained like 50 pounds in 4 months. Which I'm sure some of it has to do with the way my body digested food post having a gallbladder, but I also stress ate a lot because I was just stressed all the time because we were always short-staffed, and I don't know if this is an autistic thing, an anxiety thing, or both, but I am the type of person that I would notice when my anxiety was high, I would go to, like, a Walmart or a grocery store, wherever, and they have those, like, bins of DVDs or, like, $5 books. And when my anxiety is really bad, my mom will be looking through them, and I'll be straightening them up and trying to line them all up and make them neat. So I don't know, and I'm gonna assume this is probably a common complaint in retail of how disorganized things get. So I remember we sold shoes at our Family Dollar, and one day, my manager set me up with marking things down and making sure things were there, and I was, like, wanting to pull everything off and really get it neat, and there was just more shoes than I could possibly handle, because there was more shoes than there was space on the shelves, and it was really frustrating that I couldn't get them all neat, and I think my manager got really frustrated with me because I was wanting it to be so precisely, like, nice, clean, neat, organized, and, yeah, it just made me more and more sure that that was not the job for me, than not, like, the career for me. Um And I think within a year of having like leaving that job I had started in college because I realized I was not ready to handle all of that. And I was like, well, I'll go to school. I can work on my social skills, dealing with my anxiety because I was in counseling. I'm like, and I'll eventually get to a place where I can have a job. So I started school when I was like 22. Me, like I think it was 22. Um, And I did college, like, I got my associates, I was working on my bachelor's, and then the pandemic happened. So I have been in school ever since, like, it took me so I would have been how old was I when the pandemic started? 33? Yeah, 33. So if I started my degree when I was 22 or 23 to get my bachelor's, it had taken me 10 years because of the way my brain works and my anxiety and the stress. I was unwinding by creating a TBR for after my move. That is exciting. I love creating TBRs, which is probably why I get roped into so many readathons. I have an ebook of The Last Buccaneer. I'm guessing because you're on your booktube kind of slump that you didn't see my TBR video, but I got Last Buccaneer for lowest rated. So I'm very curious. Right now I'm like I don't understand why this has like I want to say like a 3.31 rating cuz I'm 50 pages in and I'm not finding anything awful yet, but you never know. It can be an autism thing to calm yourself by putting things in order. Yeah, that is a big one for me. It always has been, and we always chalked it up, me and my counselor, to my OCD and using my OCD, which is its own form of anxiety, to soothe the rest of my anxiety. And now I'm wondering if it's more of an, hey, you're autistic. And we just missed a bunch of signs, especially considering she wasn't treating me when I was a child, which is, I think, when it's easier to catch because you're not masking. Lots of autistics like to line things up. One of the things they ask is, "Did you line things up as a kid?" I don't know if I lined things up as a kid. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I was anywhere near as neat and tidy about it when I was a kid, because I was very much a, "Hey, Chris, it's time to clean your room." And back then, that whole cavity behind me was a closet, had doors and everything, and I would just shove everything to the closet and under my bed, and that was clean. Ooh, here's one. I had this, like, it was a square container, and I used to have my crayons in it. I can remember trying to line my crayons up all nice and neat in there because I had so many crayons. I'm trying to think. I played with the Fisher Price, the little humans, the little, are they called little people? I know that's what we called them, but I don't know if that's like the actual name for them. But I had them. I ended up burying those in the backyard. Don't know why. Not a clue. My dad, when I've talked to him about things I did when I was young, his ones he comes back to is, I used to empty his ashtray into his coffee. Um, we used to have the lamps with the little screwy things, and I used to take them off and hide them. And I once washed the car with Windex and like paper towels. See, my dad thinks I was quirky, and saying that I might have been autistic makes him go, maybe you did have a lot of like lots of quirks. And with my mom, uh, she's just like, yeah, you just did normal kid stuff. And I'm like, I don't know that I did normal kid stuff because I always struggled to relate to my peers. I did not understand the decisions they were making, and I've always had like hyperfixations of some sort or another. I can't remember much about it, so I might be able to read it. I will let you know in our private chat what I give it. So I won't tell you anything about it, but I'll let you know whether I think it would be worth wasting your time on. Well, not wasting, but like spending your time on is probably a better way to put that. I did with food cans. I can never keep my room clean. I still struggle keeping my place tidy, and yeah, it's an autism thing. I struggle with that too, especially considering the dirtier something gets, the harder I have cleaning it. Especially when you start adding in like my germ phobia because things are dirty. Hello, Cielo. Um, got to get that last minute appearance in, huh? Uh, I struggle when something gets to a point where it's so dirty that I know it needs to be cleaned, but I physically can't be the one to clean it because it's too dirty for me to touch. That's been fun lately. I was obsessed with My Little People. So was I. So was I. I was a huge fan of My Little People. And I had the little houses, and they all had names. And yeah, apparently I buried them in my backyard somewhere. Why I couldn't tell you? I don't remember doing it. They were my favorite toys. I cried when some of them got thrown away. My parents wouldn't have done that. They weren't a throw away your toys kind of crew. I got in trouble for trying to wash a car with paper towels and some kind of cleaning thing that wasn't meant for cars. My dad just talks about like the big smudges that were all over the car because I was trying to clean it with something like Windex, like I said, Windex and paper towels. Hyperfixations are most definitely an autism thing. It's part of the diagnosis. Yeah, I think looking back, I've always had one. I know. So if I start, I would have to think when I was younger, but like when I was 11, I got into NSYNC, and I can tell you that it was July 28th, 1998. Like I know the date I got into NSYNC, and I've been into NSYNC ever since. Um, I was hyperfixated on 1D for a while. I hyperfixated on Five Sauce for a while. Um, I've hyperfixated on Ow. Wrestling. Wrestling's my latest hyperfixation. I adore wrestling and everything to do with it. Books. I'm sure when I was younger, books were a hyperfixation. Wrestling was probably a hyperfixation. I remember nobody liked it. Nobody liked the things I was into. It was a struggle because I couldn't relate to them. I really, really liked Power Rangers as a kid to the point that we used to like me and a couple of kids I lived near that I was friendly with used to play Power Rangers, and I can remember doing that. I struggle with cleaning stuff that is too dirty too. It's too gross for me. Same, hard same, hard same. Especially cuz I live with other people. So like my mom has to do like the drain in the shower because like I cannot handle the fact that it's not just my mess. It was a teacher that threw them away on accident. Oh, that would have made me cry. That definitely would have made me cry. Hyperfixation equals special interest. Yeah, like I had a bunch like, and I know that like it can literally like from what I've looked at, it can literally be like anything you get into. Like I know, so I became friends with a woman who lived down the street from me, and she had a son who's younger than me. Um, like I'm talking like I'm a teenager, she's a mom of a kid who's like 7, 8 years younger than me, and he has been diagnosed with Asperger's, which I know is, as you've told me, a whole hullabaloo on the issues with that particular diagnosis. But just to give you an idea of where he is on the spectrum, and he was completely hyper fixated on Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Still is. And he used to go absolutely nuts and light up like a Christmas tree when I would come over because I would let him prattle on about his Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And like I knew a bit about Pokemon, knew nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh, but I could see how excited he got, and I was like, "Tell me all about it." He read the Warriors books and was so excited because I read the Warriors books, so we used to geek out over reading the Warriors books because that was something that was a big deal for both of us. For me, it was New Kids. I have been to see them, I think, more times than any other artist. Because I think I've seen them at least 4 times. I love New Kids on the Block. Absolutely love New Kids on the Block. The Sims, I've done that. I go in and out of that. Where I will play it religiously every day for months, and it'll be the only thing I want to do, and then I won't touch it for 2 years. It has helped having like we've talked about the people like James Turner, because I cannot get my computer to run The Sims without it completely overheating. So having James Turner means anytime I get into a Sims mood, I have people like that. They play The Sims. I don't have to actually break out the game. Yep, there's no telling what we'll get hyper fixated on. And I don't think that people understand the whole, like, a lot of people don't understand. It's all I want to talk about. And I don't mean to, like, drive people nuts with it. Because, like, I just get so excited and I'll go on and on and on and on and on. And I will completely miss the whole, like, the verbal and the, like, the physical clues that they're, like, not into it, or I'll see it, but I still won't be able to rein it in because I'm just so excited to talk about this thing that makes me so incredibly happy, or that I find so incredibly interesting. Because I would say for a while it was Egypt. I was completely obsessed with Egypt when I learned about it in school, and it was like all I wanted to talk about. But luckily, my dad was super into ancient Egypt, so I had somebody to bounce off of. And I think it's so much easier to deal with your hyperfixation when you either are talking to somebody who understands how that works, or you're talking to somebody who, while it's maybe not a hyperfixation, it's something they're interested in, so they're more willing to let you prattle on about it. Dollhouse miniatures are one of mine, the furniture more so than the dolls. I never had a dollhouse. I went to stay with my gram in Florida twice for a month, 2 different summers when I was a kid, and she had a dollhouse that we played with, but I've never had one. I saw them 3 times, but I've only been to 4 concerts in total. I've been to more than that. Um, I'm trying to remember. I know I saw him with Paula Abdul. I've seen him with 98 Degrees. I've seen him with Penta something. So I know I've seen them at least 3 times, but I feel like there was a 4th in there, and it's so hard because they've toured with 98 Degrees more than once. They've toured with toured with Boys to Men more than once. I didn't get to see them with the Backstreet Boys, and I actually had tickets for the Backstreet Boys in 2020 because they were one of the few big boy bands I had never seen, and of course that never ended up happening. And I do not foresee a situation where I ever willingly go to a concert again. And if I did, it would be NSYNC. Like, I think that's gonna be the one exception because I don't miss going to concerts, being around the people, the noise. I went to see Five Sauce and was, like, this close, I swear, to the speakers and with this ear, and it messed up my hearing, so it's not something I enjoy doing because my ears will ring for days afterwards, and it's really annoying. This one will start ringing at the show and will stop ringing, like, a day after the good ear. It no, just and then you add in all the germs and the COVID and just no. Yep. All we want to talk about is our hyperfixations. It's why I like BookTube so much because like I can be hyper fixated on this amazing book and I can run my mouth about it to the ether, and either you're going to skip over my video because you don't want to hear me talk, or you're going to listen to me. And even if you don't like the book, even if it's not a book you've read or it's not the type of book, every single book lover that is on BookTube and is looking for content on BookTube has had a book that they went, oh my God, it's all I want to talk about. Please, somebody listen to me talk about this book. It's amazing. Egypt and dinosaurs. I don't know that it was dinosaurs so much for me as a kid. More now. I think dinosaurs are so cool more now as an adult than I think I did as a kid. I still cry at the loss of both my doll houses. One my grandpa had made me. I plan to make one for myself. I would be upset if like my grandparents had made it for me. Though I only ever knew 2 of them. Ellie, stop hitting the computer. Because most of my grandparents died before I was born. And I still have stuff from them. Not the ones that died before I was born, but like the 2 that were living. I don't know if you've ever seen in my videos, I have pictures on the wall. Every single one of them contains my grandfather who died right before the pandemic started, like late 2019. And I don't know if my grumpy statues have ever shown. Like I have a bunch of I don't know if I can get them in shot where you can there they are. They're gonna be really hard to see, but like right there I have a whole bunch of Grumpy, like the dwarf. And we all called my grandfather Grumpy, and he used to collect Grumpies. So some of those are ones I've given him, and some of those are ones I got as part of his collection. And I couldn't imagine not having them. And when my other mom died, she was the one that got me into collecting like little cat figurines. And her family was clearing her house out, and my mom went over and asked if I could have the cat I had gifted her when I went to Boston. Like I went to Boston on a school trip, got her one, and I wanted that one back because it's one I gave to her. There was a connection there. And her family was like, well, Chris can have all of them if she wants them. So I have every single cat she had. Most of them are at my storage unit. Well, all of them are at the storage unit because with all the cats, I don't want them getting broken. But I have every single cat she ever collected down at my storage unit. And I can't imagine losing those. That's why I've been to so few concerts. Too much overstimulation, crowds of people can't do them. I can handle it in the moment. I stress out the entire trip there. Then in the moment, like once the band hits the stage, I'm fine because I'm focused on my hyperfixation. And then afterwards, I just want to get out of there because I'm done. I'm done being around people and I'm exhausted. I was actually talking to my best friend about this, about how concerts are exhausting, but I always felt like I was more exhausted than she was afterwards because I had to decompress from all of the other stimulation that I was dealing with. But it did help anxiety wise that it was something I was excited about. And there's a very different feeling when you're anxious because you're excited about something, even if you're still worrying, versus something you're just worried about and dreading. Oh, and space. I wanted to colonize Mars. I love space. I still love space. I love going out and looking at the stars. I have, again, I don't know. Can you see the pink stars on my ceiling? Like, when I painted my room ages ago, I'm talking, like, 20 years, they used to glow. It's glow-in-the-dark paint, and I had, like, a star stamp because I was that into stars. Oh, the grumpies. My heart melted into a puddle. Yeah, I have them. I said that I wanted to get, a tattoo. Not that I can see it ever happening, because craziness, but if I ever got a tattoo, one of the ones I wanted was, I always did puzzles with my grandma. My grandma always bought me puzzles. So I thought what would be really, really cool would be a puzzle of a Grumpy, like Grumpy, the character Grumpy, on like my arm. So you have like all the like a put together puzzle of Grumpy, which would represent both my grandmother and my grandfather in one tattoo. I have my grandpa's NASA hat, that my great uncle gave him. It went into space. That is really cool. That would definitely help make you into space, I would think. My body confuses excitement with anxiety. That is probably part of it. I think, like, when I start to feel any heightened emotion, because, like, I know I struggle to have, like, a really good cry, because you know how sometimes really good cries can be cathartic? Well, I'm so used to controlling my emotion that whenever I feel any kind of really heightened emotion, I sometimes lose control on all of my emotions. So, like, anger, though anger will overpower the anxiety. Like, if I'm really, really angry, I can do things that I can't do when I'm anxious. Like, one of the things I can't do is, leave my street, and yet when I'm pissed off, I can absolutely do it because the anxiety goes away. I'm so angry that I can't feel the anxiety. Yep, I can see the stars in your room. I wasn't sure if the light was gonna make them so you couldn't see them, but yeah, I have them all over my ceiling. I love looking at the stars. I do too, even though I don't like being outside, because like, cold, and when it's not cold, mosquitoes, and mosquitoes love me. Whoops. Lad's telling me it's bedtime. Always definitely bedtime for me. I'm just enjoying talking to somebody who totally gets how my brain works. It's nice. Yep, angry can totally take over anxiety. It, like, completely drowns it out, and it's not that you're not anxious, it's not that your body isn't feeling those same symptoms. It's just that I think that you're more likely in that situation because you're so angry to fight. So the way you're feeling your anxiety is completely different. So it is so much easier to do something you would be scared of because you're all full of piss and vinegar. It's why, because of the way my anxiety presents, my therapist never wanted me on steroids for anything. Cause we had talked, it was one of the things I talked about, like, with my doctor with allergies, was possibly doing some sort of steroids and trying to get it under control that way for a little bit, and then figuring out an allergy med or something. And my therapist completely vetoed it because of the fact that there is sometimes a good chance that I go into fight mode, and she didn't want me having any more adrenaline than was absolutely necessary. We'll get to talk more at some point, because yeah, it's nice to have someone who relates. It really, really, really is. I know my anxiety started to get better when my nephew lived here because his girlfriend ended up moving in, and his girlfriend had anxiety. And it was the first time I'd ever really spent any large amount of time with somebody who I knew had an anxiety disorder. And that was when I started to realize that I wasn't some sort of, like, freak. Like, that other people, like, not only had it, but I could say something that would not at all encompass what my brain was going through in a way that made sense. But if you had an anxiety disorder, you went, "Oh, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about." And it was, like, one of those things that unless you had been through it, you didn't understand it, and she understood it in ways that nobody else had ever related to. And that was when I started to slightly get better, because I had finally found somebody I understood. The only downside of living with somebody who had anxiety is I would pick up on her being anxious because of one of her triggers, and I would get anxious, even though there was nothing triggering me. But I could see that she was anxious, and I was trying to figure out what we were anxious about. Because it immediately went to a, what are we anxious about? We are anxious. So that was always an interesting situation. Though she and I no longer talk. We talked for a long time after she and my nephew broke up, and we do not talk anymore because she slowly stopped talking to me. I don't know if you've seen or if you would know to see them, but Bun and Lola, they've both been in my videos. I don't know if I've identified them. I don't even know if let me see if I've got pictures. Well, you'll know Bun. I've mentioned Bun. She's the one that I brought to the vet that bit me. But Bun and Lola were her cats. And she had to move and she had 4 cats and she kept 2 of them, like the 2 boys, and was trying to find a home for them. Or like a temporary foster thing, and we boarded them for like a month at like $17 a day while we were waiting for her to find a place where she could take the cats or find a place where she could like have a foster situation or somebody to take them, and she didn't, and eventually it got to the point where we couldn't afford to keep boarding them, and she's like, well, then I'll have to put them down. And I think they were like maybe 3 years old at the time and perfectly healthy, and I went, I don't hardly think so. Like, that's how I ended up with her cats, but, like, that was kind of the beginning of the end, and then she moved to another state, and we didn't really hear from her, and then she had just moved back here when the pandemic happened, and I've had, like, no contact with her. I think I ran into her in one of my last trips out before, like, I stopped going places. You would think I would have more pictures of Lola and Bun on here, I don't. Um, so Lola and Bun are, white and orange. So, like, Donner is big, black, and orange, but these ones are more like white and orange with a little bit of gray. So those 2 that you see in my videos, those are, Lola and Bun. Anxiety is contagious, yes, it is. Lad's telling you you have to settle down as past his bedtime. Yeah, put them down. What the fuck? That's not okay. Nope. She had, that would have been the 2nd and 3rd cat she had put down. She had a 1.5-year-old cat that when she had her baby, her first kid, was really anxious, I think, and was like peeing all over the house, and they tried anxiety meds and like nothing was working, so they put him down. And I found out like after the fact, and I remember being so disgusted and angry with her for that because I'm like, you brought this tiny human into the house, completely upended his safe space, everything he knew. You waited a couple months, and like I know that she was dealing with some postpartum depression, I think. Um and I know that she just had a lot going on, and I can't imagine having a brand new baby and trying to deal with that, but, like, it wasn't the cat's fault, and you're telling me there was no other solution than that? Bull. Absolute bull. Message me with pics at some point. Yeah, I'll have to. I mean, I don't know where they are, like, on my phone. I know I've gotta have pictures of them. So I will try to find some, and I'll put them in our Discord. Even if you can't see them until after the move, they'll be there. No, 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 she should never be allowed to have pets again. Um, I think she's got some dogs now. She has the cat that I bought her for her birthday while she lived here, which was the first cat she got, and then she picked up the others along the way. As far as I know, he's still kicking. And then I think last I knew she had some dogs, but like I said, she just completely cut me out of her life, which you know what? It's fine because I remember a conversation when Monkey, that's what I called her kid, Monkey, was a baby, and his sister was like 12 and was trying to calm Monkey down because he was upset, and she had, like, one of those bubble wands where you, like, flip it from one end and the bubble like, the gels all run, and then, she said, "Don't let your brother see you playing with him with that because it's purple, and he'll think you're trying to make him gay." This kid was, like, 7 months old. So, I don't think it's any great loss that I'm not spending time with them anymore because somehow I get the feeling that her husband would have a lot of issues with who I really am. Okay, I've gotta go. Lad is staring at me with the stare of doom. Okay, yes, I should probably get to sleep anyways. If you wanna keep chatting from, like, bed or whatever, hit me up in the Discord. But yeah, I'm gonna end these streams here. I'm not sure anybody tuned in besides you, but thank you for hanging out with me if you did, or if you're watching these back later, and yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Hopefully, it won't be too far into the future. So, yeah, see you soon. Bye. Bye.